to our respected professor, Dr. Felipe Baldera, to my classmates, good morning. My name is NurhassanB.Amron, and I will be the one to share about my research on the effective systems and practices to mitigate integrity violations at the individual and institutional level. To begin my report is to tackle on the corporate governance. I would like to relate my report to this one because it simply picture out the essence of my report. So what is a corporate governance? When we say about the corporate governance, this is actually the application of best management practices, compliance of law, and true letter and spirit and adherence to ethical standards for effective management and distribution of wealth and discharge of social responsibility for sustainable development of all stakeholders. Conduct of business in accordance with shareholders' desires while conforming to the basic rules of the society embodied in the law and local customs. Corporate governance relationship among various participants in determining the direction and performance of a corporation. So, what are those? One is the shareholders, which is a person or a company or institution that owns at least one share of a company stock or in a mutual fund. Next is managers, board of directors, employees, customers, creditors, suppliers, and community. So why corporate governance? Um, Corporate governance is actually the one who have the better access to external finance, lower cost of capital, interest rates on loans, improve company performance sustainability, and higher firm valuation and share performance. And the last one is reduce risk of corporate crisis and scandals. So there are principles of corporate governance. We have one, sustainable development of all stakeholders. Two, effective management and distribution of wealth. Three, discharge of social responsibility. Four, application of best management practices. Fifth, compliance of law and letter and spirit. And the last one is adherence to ethical standard. So let's us have some knowledge on this particular topic. Okay, let's start with the sustainable development of all stakeholders. This is actually to ensure growth of all individuals associated with or affected by the enterprise on sustainable business. And effective management and distribution of wealth is to ensure that enterprise creates maximum wealth and judiciously uses the wealth so created for providing maximum benefits to all stakeholders and enhancing its wealth creation capabilities to maintain sustainability. Next, number three is discharge of social responsibility. This is actually to ensure that enterprise is acceptable to the society in which it is functioning. Of course, this is very important because, as we all know, that society is actually have a great contribution for the success of the goals of the a particular institution or a company. So we need to involve the society as well. And next is the application of best management practices. This is to ensure excellence and functioning of enterprise and optimum creation of wealth on sustainable business. Next is the compliance of law in letter and spirit. Okay, this is a very important because we are talking about this the law or the policy in which we believe that in all companies there is a policy or law that they have to comply, and accordingly, this is to ensure value enhancement for all stakeholders guaranteed by the law for maintaining socio-economic balance. And the last one is adherence to ethical standards, which is to ensure integrity, transparency, independence, and accountability in dealings with all stakeholders. So later on, we are going to tackle one by one about these ethical standards, because this is also very important to a company or to a corporate organization. So as like what I said, that those ethical standard or the accountability, fairness, transparency, independence are the four pillars of a corporate governance. So this is very important for a institution or corporate organization. So let's tackle one by one. When you say accountability, um, this is actually to um, refers to the quality or state of being accountable. And it is an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account. And accordingly, this is to ensure that management is accountable to the board. Lastly, is to ensure that the board is accountable to stakeholders. Next is fairness. Okay, fairness is the quality or the state of being fair, a lack of favoritism toward one side or another. So this is a very important to a company or to the organization, because this shows of how you are going um, sh- to showcase your relationship with the staff or the employees of the organization. So fairness can actually protect shareholders' rights, treat all shareholders, including minorities, equitably. And lastly is to provide effective redress for violations. Next is transparency. It is the quality or state of being transparent. This is to ensure timely, accurate disclosure on all materials matters, including the financial situation, performance, ownership, and corporate governance. And the last pillars of the corporate governance is the independence. This is um, this is a procedures and structures that are in place so as to minimize or avoid completely conflicts of interest. Independent directors and advisors, example, free from the influence of others. Of course, this is very important. And aside from the four pillars of the corporate governance, we also have what we call on the elements of corporate governance. These are the good board practices, controlled environment, transparent disclosure, well-defined shareholder rights, and board commitments. Let's begin with the good board practices. This is clearly defined rules and authorities. Duties and responsibilities of directors understood. Board is well structured. Appropriate composition and mix of skills. Good board procedures. Appropriate board procedures. Director remuneration in line with best practice. Board self-evaluation and training conducted. Next is control environment. This involves our internal control procedures, risk management framework present, disaster responsibility, disaster recovery systems in place, and media management techniques in use. Control environment, business continuity, procedures in place, independent external auditor conducts audits, and independent audit committee establish. Internal audits function, management information systems establish, and compliance function establish. Of course, transparent disclosure, the next of the elements of corporate governance. This refers to the company's registry filings up to date, high quality annual report published, and web-based disclosure. Well-defined shareholders' rights, minority shareholder rights formalized, well-organized shareholder meetings conducted, and lastly is the policy on related party transactions. Policy on extraordinary transactions, clearly defined and explicit dividend policy. Board commitments. The board discusses corporate governance issues and has created a corporate governance committee. The company has a corporate governance champion. A corporate governance improvement plan has been created. And lastly is appropriate resources are committed to corporate governance initiatives. Policies and procedures have been formalized and distributed to relevant staff. A corporate governance code has been developed. A code of ethics has been developed. The company is recognized as a corporate governance leader. So these are the other entities. A corporate governance applies to all types of organization, not just companies in the private sector, but also in the not-for-profit and public sectors. Examples are NGOs, schools, hospitals, pension funds, state-owned enterprises. Okay, so that's all for my report. Thank you very much for listening.